Hello and welcome to my first ever actual ranking video because we don't count the other one. So I'm a very huge fan of dhmis, and ever since the film theory came out about it, I've been watching it ever since then. Like the original, not the new one. Since the new show came out, I thought I would rank all the episodes from best to worst. Also, fun fact, there are no bad episodes of the show, so worst isn't really the correct term. Make sure to subscribe and enjoy the video. This is every single dhmis episode ranked from best to less best.
It's not your fault. You're just a
This is easily the weakest episode in the entire show. First off, I don't like Eagle. He's not a really good teacher, and he's mainly just a punching bag for the cast, which is fine, but when they try to do serious stuff with him, it just doesn't hit as hard since there's no foreshadowing for that like in every other episode with every single other teacher. In fact, Eagle actually helps Yellow Guy out before getting trapped with the Brain Friends, which would usually set up the Brain Friends as the villain, but Eagle's actually evil. It's actually really rushed and weird. Also, most of the episode is kind of pointless and it just doesn't go anywhere. Apart from that, I still really like the episode, I just don't like the villain. And the best part is the intro. Pretty funny episode, just not that interesting. Probably the weakest in the series.
Pesky bee.
I'm sorry, but this episode is probably the most overrated in the whole series. There isn't anything wrong about it, I just don't feel anything about it. And there's nothing super good about this one. I'm not a fan of the song, but I really like all the deep quote stuff. That was pretty interesting. That's kind of all I have to say about this episode. It's pretty good. It could be a lot better though.
Wow, look!
I'm a computer.
This episode is pretty solid all around. It's a very funny and dark episode of Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared. If I have anything to say about it, it didn't age that well because of how everything is kind of outdated since it came out in like 2014. But other than that, it's a really funny and very good episode.
It's simple, really. Oh, and I actually made up a little spatial distribution-based puzzle of my own, see?
I still have no idea what's going on in this episode, but hey, at least it's funny and enjoyable. There was no real lesson here, and it's quite eerie, which actually makes it a lot more scary than the other episodes, except for probably family, but other than that, this episode is really great, and I would even call it amazing. But, for one, I still have no idea what's going on with this episode, like, what's the story here? I'm not sure what's going on, but, I was gonna give it an 8 out of 10, but I think a 7 fits pretty well, just because of the fact that they don't really explore it, and they don't really explain what's going on too much.
Which one's your good ear?
I don't know about that. I'm a train!
This is another very solid and fun episode. I like the teacher in this one. I like how he's completely drunk all the time on his fuel. Also, he gets some really good character building from Red Guy, as he always seems to want to escape and go somewhere else. This episode's really fun. I really enjoy everything about it, and it's just a really fun, simple, good episode.
I don't see what you mean. Cause you're not thinking
I don't like it. Really not good.
Use my hair to express
It's not very good at all.
This episode is very, very good. I like the lore implications that it has, and it also has Roy, so it's instantly a banger. Not much to say, just a really, really good episode that ended off a really good series. Why does the lamp have legs? I hate it so much.
Oh, you're hungry. You're a bit hungry.
Yeah.
Shut up or I'm gonna delete your Minecraft account. My dad is not.
First off, do not watch this episode. This scarred me for life. All you know is that Duck dies and nothing else changes about the show. There's nothing horrific or nothing, there's nothing graphic, there's nothing wrong with this episode. With that being said, this episode is horrific and horrifying to just say the least. This is one of the scariest things I've ever seen in my entire life. Every single thing just cranks up the disturbing levels of the other episodes to insane lengths, but I love it so much. This is a great episode of the show, but I just can't watch the part where Duck dies. It's so horrific and disgusting and just awful. But other than that, this episode is truly amazing.
It's actually really nice.
Hey, wow, I didn't like that.
This is a great episode all around. Every single thing works with this episode except when Duck pees himself. That's not funny. Other than that, this episode handles grief very respectively and smartly by covering what can happen when someone close to you dies. Also, the pink blob thing, I think his name was Stain Edwards the Forever Boy, he should replace the duck because he is painted in such a negative light in this episode and he does not deserve it. Duck is the worst. He murdered that guy. He murdered Stain Edward the Forever Boy. He didn't deserve it. Stain was the best character of all time and Duck just killed him. I hate Duck. Duck's the worst.
Maybe I could be the one who catches all the fishes in a big net.
There's nothing in it.
This is a very great start to the new show. I really enjoyed the darker tones of this one and how it's all about how much jobs can burn you out. I really don't like the job song, but everything else about this episode is really good. It's funny and creative. Give unemployed Brendan a job. Hashtag justice for Brendan.
What's your favorite idea?
An absolute classic. This episode perfectly calculated what would happen to the series from then on. There wasn't much to say. This is just a masterpiece of an episode and one that I will rewatch all the time.
9:30. Fish everywhere. Fish everywhere.
This is easily the most underrated out of the entire series of Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared. I love every second of this episode. The song is easily the best out of the whole show, and the fact that it's semi-sinister throughout the whole thing is amazing. It's a bit scattershot, but that's fine with me since the whole episode was made to be complete insanity. Some people say it's not disturbing enough, and I highly disagree. It's just the right amount, and it's easily one of the darkest episodes of the whole show. This is everything Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared 3 should have been. In fact, it should be what the whole show should have been. This episode perfectly shows the pure, concentrated potential of the Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared series. But there's one that's even better.
Pass me that family pack. I think things might go a little differently this time.
This is easily by a long shot my favorite episode of the whole new show. Family is horrifying and amazing in every single possible way. The ending is probably one of my favorite moments in the entire series. It talks about families in a very distorted and creepy way, and I just adore this episode so much. The side plot with Duck is really smart, and it shows how without the three, everything would fall apart, while also showing some hilarious moments with the red guy. Yellow guy's plot is horrific, while also being extremely funny and very entertaining. Without a doubt, this is my favorite episode in the entire series. A funny, creative, and absolutely horrific tale. And by a long shot, my favorite episode of Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared. And that's all the Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared episodes ranked. I hope you enjoyed it, and when Season 2 hopefully comes out at some point, I'll be there to talk about it. Some new videos in the same style will be coming out along with my regular content soon. Thanks for watching this. This is an epic outro.